opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and Your Sports Network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Tuesday edition of Ysn's Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. I am Ty Bartell, here joined along with you for this Tuesday edition, and a lot of weather took a lot of games out in this area, but luckily for us, we still had games going on in Myrtle Beach that we'll have to talk about some finals for. We have some track, field, and running MVPs that we also came into that we'll have to talk about, as well as we'll have some pre-recorded interviews. We did one with Columbiana coach Daryl Kurtz just prior to the show that will be airing live on the show today. We'll also be recording or having a pre-recorded interview that Anthony conducted with Reagan Greenheisen. We had Skylar's on yesterday, and Reagan Greenheisen's going to be on today. That can also be found on ysnlive.com under the name It's So Easy Being Green for the article title on that, as well as some live interviews today. 12:30 we're going to have Coach James Hannick of South Range Baseball, 2018 state champions in D3, going to be coming on at 12:30. We're also going to be having Gavin Mauger of Lakeview Football. He's signed and committed to play at the next level. We'll be having him come on at 12:45, as well as Nate Schick from Lakeview Softball. They've been trending upwards, looking real good. He comes on at 1 o'clock, too. We'll wrap things up with him, too. As well as our power rankings came out yesterday, I believe, too, at 8 o'clock, too. They dropped on a Monday, so we have the Week 3 slate of power rankings that we'll have to talk about as well. All that and more coming up here on Running Point. First and foremost, though, we're going to start with the scores of last night, and with the baseball realm, Boardman in the baseball and softball were playing down there in Myrtle Beach. Starting in softball first, we'll go with the ladies first, actually. Inspiration Academy able to defeat the Spartans last night by a final score of 8-4 down in Myrtle Beach, as Boardman was playing today too against Tampa Catholic, was actually up 7-0, and I think Tampa Catholic had a monster inning, ended up coming back in that one, winning it 10-7 in the softball realm. Last night, though, on the baseball side, Boardman was clawing their way back, quite literally, but came just shy of Notre Dame Cathedral Latin NDCL by a final score of 8-7 last night, as they were trying to get back into it. Baseball did start with a win of 5-3, and that was down, I believe, Wilson Hall. Yeah, they beat Wilson Hall by a final score of 5-3 to open things up. Lost to Notre Dame Cathedral Latin last night, 8-7. Canfield also was in action against East Lincoln, North Carolina, where East Lincoln put a 4-run spot on Canfield, but it didn't matter. Cards still won by a massive 10 runs, as it was a final score of 15-5 for the Cardinals. Talked about the track and field results that also came in too. We have some running and field MVPs for both the boys and girls side. I believe this was actually hosted over at East Palestine. I want to say it was over at East Palestine. The boys running MVP was Caleb White out of Beaver Local, and the field MVP was Ryan Henry out of McDonald High School. So we want to congratulate us here at YSM want to congratulate, and us here at Running Point want to congratulate both Caleb White of Beaver Local and Ryan Henry of McDonald, the boys running MVP and field MVP of that event. Girls MVP running MVP was Cody Kinsley of Beaver Local. Beaver Local sweeping it with the running MVPs on both the boys and girls side. And the field MVP was Shelby Rambo of Crestview. So we want to wish our best congrats to the girls MVP and field MVP of running and field, I should say. Cody Kinsley of Beaver Local for the running MVP and Shelby Rambo of Crestview for the field MVP in that event. We want to wish them our best congratulations to all of them too in the track and field realm. We love giving results on that as they come through. Nonetheless, a lot of games also. We mentioned about games getting kind of axed last night, some more getting axed tonight too as you look out the window and you're wondering, is it spring, is it winter? We don't know right now. Still trying to figure that out. Fitch, though, does play tonight down in Myrtle Beach, so they'll be in action still tonight, so we'll have to get a result in from them. They're also going to be playing the third-ranked team in Maryland tomorrow at 8 a.m., so that's going to be an exciting game to see the Falcons softball team square off against. But without further ado, I want to get into these power rankings a little bit. As we said last night, 8 o'clock, they did drop in for both the boys and girls baseball and softball room. I invited you all to come on. Let's have a discussion about them, and let's first and foremost start off with the softball side of things. And no doubt, we talked about this. This is the new one. This is all what came out now. The Falcons ranked number 1 again, 3 straight weeks in a row. And we posed the question of who can knock off the Falcons at number 1 in the softball realm in our power rankings. And we'll pose that question again. Who makes the best case to dethrone the number 1 ranked power ranked teams in the softball and baseball realm? These are the new ones. We see South Range in particular making a huge jump as they go into the 2 spot now, hot on the tail of the Falcons right there. And we mentioned too yesterday the Falcons being ranked number 4 in the coaches poll in Division 1. And for South Range, they were ranked number 3 in Division 3 in the coaches poll. So no doubt South Range making a big jump. Ursuline dropping a little bit from 2 to 4 after suffering their first loss. So they're still in the top 5, but dropping out of that 2 spot. South Range after a good trip to Myrtle. And I believe only 1 loss on the docket gets them into that number 2 spot. West Branch holds strong, it looks like, at the 3 spot, as they've been playing some very good softball, as a late quality softball, as a matter of fact. And we are going to continue having West Branch covered too throughout these interviews. We talked about the Greenheisens that are going to be on. We're going to continue covering them too, and we'll have an interview on for them today as well. Champion, it looks like, stays at that 5 spot, even though continuing to be undefeated. I think I've continued to rank Champion higher, but the voters too, and I believe a lot of people, the thing with Champion, just not getting a whole lot of games in. They're starting now to get some games in, but weather, like a lot of teams, has held Champion off of the field, so just trying to get some games in, but they're still in the top 5 rankings, and we're seeing some new faces. Well, not new faces as much as there is just new faces towards the bottom of the list, as Poland takes a drop, but they're hanging on to 10. How about this? Hubbard goes from 10 to 9. They get up the list a little bit too after having a great week. Crestview still there at the 6th spot. Boardman holding on at 7, and Lakeview holding on at 8 after splitting with St. Vincent St. Mary's. But looking at this list, let me know what you think. What are some of your opinions on it? What are some teams maybe on the outside looking in? I'll tell you one team I've been ranking right off the bat, 2 teams, I should say, that should be ranked right off the bat. We talked with Coach Kurtz, Columbiana softball, and I also said United softball. Give that EOAC some respect, some good quality softball being hosted in there. I think both those teams certainly on the outside looking in for this softball power ranking. But let me know what you think. What are some teams you think are fighting to get into this spot? What are some teams on here that you think have a case to dethrone Fitch at number 1? And did we get it right? What are some teams you think deserve to be ranked higher, ranked lower? Let me know what you think in the comments section below, as the softball power rankings for week 3 are out. And we look forward to seeing what all these teams can do with the schedules ahead of them. And if they can hold their spot, try to move up, try to move down this list. As we swing it over now to the boys side of things. And no surprises again at the number 1 spot. Canfield still holding strong, perched atop too, fitting with the logo that's place there, literally perched atop the list for the third consecutive week in a row. And we pose that same question again to the baseball side. Who are some teams that make the best case, if any, to dethrone number one seeded Canfield in this power ranking? We talk about Boardman being ranked number 2, and if you tuned into yesterday's Running Point, we had Richie Giuliano on, and both Richie and I agreed if there's any team on the softball side, it was South Range, and on the baseball side, thought it would be Boardman. Boardman holding that one win, I should say, over the Canfield Cardinals. South Range holding in strong, though, number 3, and I think you could really make a case for either the Spartans or the Raiders to potentially take that top spot eventually. We'll be talking with Coach Hannock, and smushed in between a couple of Canfield teams, Boardman fighting strong again. JFK, the D4 defending state champions, holding strong at number 4 as well. Their schedule alone has kept them respectable enough, even with the couple losses that they have on the season. Fitch moving on up into the top 5, and how about this? We talk about the AAC being a powerhouse conference. We have Canfield, Boardman, and Fitch all in 3 of the 5 teams in the AAC ranked in the top 5. And let's see what this personally would have dropped JFK out of the top 4, moved Fitch up top 4, Columbiana top 5. I was thinking, for full transparency, I believe I voted Columbiana into the top 5 as well. But you know what? A lot of people think that the schedules placed by Warren JFK has been very tough for the Eagles, and that's fair enough. But I can certainly see that point too, where Fitch being in the top 4, Columbiana 5. But either way, what you bring up too, Robbie, and that's a good point, and that's another discussion we were talking about with this AAC conference that Canfield, Boardman, and Fitch have to go through. We've only seen one game out of all this. So far, we've only seen Canfield, Boardman round 1. We still need to see round 2 between them. We still have 2 games between Boardman and Fitch, and we still have 2 games between Fitch and Canfield to get to. This is going to be a wild conference, too, and right now you're seeing 3 teams ranked in the top 5 from the AAC, and heck, 2 ranked in the top 2, 1 and 2 right there. This is going to be wild. Let me know what you think. I mean, obviously, you would think Canfield's a strong suitor, but Boardman has a lot of seniors. Fitch has some great pitching, too, and they're getting some timely hitting right now. They're a perfect wild card in that conference. Let me know what you think, how this AAC is going to turn out as well. I think it's wild as we round out the top 5. Columbiana does move up from 7 to 6, so they do get more respect as they continue moving up in the power rankings. Clippers looking strong, continuing to schedule strong, and there's going to be a big test there because Columbiana is going to face Fitch in the baseball world too. And being able to get a win like that, if the Clippers are able to, would certainly, you would think, remove all doubt from other voters' heads about them being a potential top 5 seed. And then, yeah, absolutely. Fitch and Canfield, Fitch and Columbiana. There's a lot of games for the Fitch side too that you got to look at. Fitch's schedule is huge. They still have to play Ursuline again, too, the one team that has defeated the Falcons on the season. That'll be fun. And how about that, too, looking down the list a little bit, Ursuline dropping all the way from 2 to 10, and that just goes to show how bad or how far you can drop with one bad week. And, I mean, Ursuline suffering losses to both Columbiana and Lakeview, and it gives Lakeview the opportunity now to get into the list as they crack the top 10 for the first time this season on the baseball realm. Congratulations to the Bulldogs, as Lakeview has been garnering some great wins and getting timely wins against the Irish too, has notably been able to rank them there number 9 on the list, and Ursuline hanging on by the skin of their teeth at the number 10 spot after suffering those losses. And quite frankly, I got to be honest with you, I got to think that it was just the way Ursuline ended the week that kept them on the list at all, and kept them from being removed from the list entirely, and beating both the Cardinal Mooney Cardinals too, and that Holy War was a huge victory for the Irish, no doubt, and then beating Champion right after too kept the Irish, I think, on this list. Crestview continuing to be 8, Salem getting some wins too, continuing to be 7, but let us know what you think on this baseball list. Some teams you think might be on the outside looking in. I think certainly you got to mention Champion too as another team that's right there as well. But let me know in some baseball teams that you think on the outside looking in. Did we get this list right? What would you think? What would you move? Who would you move up? Who would you move down? Or would you keep it just the way it is as our power rankings for week 3 round out? And It's going to be a debatable topic and one we'll probably be drawing back to multiple times throughout the weekend. It's going to be a fun discussion, no doubt, between the baseball and softball realm, because a lot of teams right now are competing for a top spot, and just a lot of talent in this area and a lot of talent that it's going to be fun. Once tournament time rolls around, watch out, watch out. A lot of these conferences have yet to be decided too, and a lot of these teams coming back. We're going to be talking with Coach Hannick. They're coming back from Myrtle, where he talked with Coach Kurtz earlier, coming from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee too. So a lot of these teams were out for their spring break, and now it kind of starts second half of the season. Some of them have some conference games under their belt, but now really conference schedule bolsters up, and you really need to get these games in too. So a lot of conferences are going to be decided in the coming weeks, and that's going to be fun, leading us up to the start of tournament time in both the baseball and softball realm. And that's going to be no doubt exciting to watch here on the network, and we can't look forward to it enough coming up. As we mentioned, Coach Hannick is going to be coming on at 12:30 from South Range Baseball. We're also going to have Gavin Mauger from Lakeview Football coming on at 12:45. And then we also will have Nate Schick of Lakeview Softball coming on at 1, as well as we're going to be playing or having some pre-recorded interviews aired from Reagan Greenheisen from West Branch Softball, as well as Daryl Kurtz from Columbiana Softball on the show today. As well as we're going to try to see what games we're going to try to get in coming up in the next coming days. But I believe everything you would think would be axed, but we're going to keep you up to date too on any games that are added, delayed, moved, postponed, anything of that nature here on ysnlive.com. But going back in to those power rankings, we looked at those dropped too. Let us know what you think in the comment section on that, on the baseball and softball realm, and some big games that are coming up. And one big game we're going to be talking about with Coach Schick later on too at 1 o'clock is this Lakeview versus Champion game on the softball realm. And this is a huge one too. And you want to go right back to that softball list that's going to be coming up. I believe this is a Wednesday game. No doubt we'll be talking with Coach Schick about this, but you're looking at number 5 versus number 8. And if there's any way for Lakeview to make a statement and really open some eyes, you beat a Champion team. I think you're going to do just that. And for Champion to make their case, build their resume, if you will, to get themselves into that top 3, I think Champion beating a Lakeview team would be huge in building that resume to get into the top 3. A Lakeview team that has been red hot as of recent weeks, getting some pretty big wins and some timely hitting late in games too. But that's no doubt going to be a huge game coming up. But also, we talked about the AAC a lot. We got to look at this NE8 now, because all of a sudden South Range has Lakeview, Hubbard, and Poland 8, 9, and 10. That's 3 other teams from the NE8 sitting in the top 10. We talked about 3 teams from the AAC sitting in the top 5 in the baseball realm. How about 4 teams of the 8 in the NE8 are in the top 10 power rankings for the softball realm? And really, you kind of figure now, looking at this and looking at the power rankings, what you kind of figure the favorite for conference is in the NE8 being South Range. But I tell you what, 8 through 10, that's exactly where it is. It's a wild card race between Lakeview, Hubbard, and Poland. Which team's going to stand out the most too? Poland's always competing at the top with South Range, but out of Lakeview and Hubbard, which teams are standing out? I think these 2 are strong contenders for it. It's going to be wild as conference play continues with it. I believe the only game, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm mistaken, I believe the only game that has happened between these teams has been Hubbard and Poland. If no games caught off last night, it was supposed to be South Range Poland, but it was Hubbard Poland on the softball realm. So if no games got off last night, we'll have to see what some other conference games are that are coming up. But Hubbard Poland, I believe, the only ones that have squared off in that realm too. And we looked on the baseball side. You got Fitch that's going to be facing off against Columbiana in the coming weeks. That'll be a 5 versus 6. They'll be facing against South Range. That's 5 versus 3. And by nature of the conference, they have to play 1 and 2 still. So a lot of great baseball coming up. And not to mention, Lakeview and Ursuline still play Fitch again. So Fitch quite literally is going to be playing 6 teams, I should say, in these top 10 power rankings. So some of the best these teams are going to be playing as well. And Canfield, don't get it twisted. even though Canfield's not playing a whole lot of teams on the power rankings, they're playing some of the best teams in the state. And that is namely why we keep putting the Cardinals ranked atop, is just looking at the success that they've had, not only in Myrtle Beach now, but just in the state of Ohio has been very impressive, and their talent level has been impressive. Boardman being right there because they have that one defeat against the Cardinals. They beat the Cardinals the one time. They're going to be right there on the outside looking in. I think we all need to see round 2, and I think if Boardman does it and they are able to take 2 from the Cardinals in the season, I think it's unquestionable who you rank number 1 then in that debate. But let us know again what you think. What are some other big games that you see on the schedule for these teams that are going to be telling for a power rankings? What are some big games that you think are on the docket this week, maybe next week too, for the baseball softball realm, that are going to be not do or die necessarily, but are going to be very impactful as far as debating which teams deserve to be ranked where on the power rankings list? As no doubt there's going to be the power rankings list to talk about, but there's going to be conference standings that are going to be coming up too, where a lot of these teams get into conference play. A lot of conferences are going to be decided. We talked with Coach Kurtz. He's got some games coming up with United. So Columbiana versus United softball is going to be huge. That might decide that conference going forward. So that's going to be exciting too. And we talk about Coach Hannock with the South Range baseball too. That's going to be fun to talk about that. Competing in that NE8 is always going to be a tough slate, and trying to come out on top of that NE8 is always a tough thing to do as well. So a lot of things to talk about in the baseball realm, and a lot of great matchups coming up, out of conference matchups throughout the end of the season. And not to mention, just these conferences need to be decided too. It's crazy how we have all these out-of-conference games that still have yet to be played, as well as these conferences that still have to be decided with big games. It's going to be a fun second half of the season. Now that a lot of these teams are coming back from their spring break, it's kind of a good stopping point, or not a good stopping point, I should say, a good midway marker, rather, for the season, a good halfway point to kind of look and see where the team's doing, see where it's at, see what you can improve on going into the second half of play now that conference play really starts getting into the thick of it. As we will look forward again to 12:30, Coach Hannock going to be coming on with the South Range baseball team. As we look forward to him, we're going to take one of our first breaks today here as we get ready to preview for the first time, I should say, and should mention too, Coach Hannock appearing for the first time in the new era of Running Point on the show too for the South Range Raiders baseball team. So we're looking forward to talking about this team, talking about their trip from Myrtle. They just got back from it too, as well as just getting our usual Meet the Team segments in with our coaches as well. And don't forget, some more live interviews as well as some pre-recorded ones. All that coming up and more on YSN's Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends: shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the four words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickie Electric.
Joe Dickie Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Coca's Pizza, always supporting our community and our local athletes. Stop in on game day or score big and have it delivered right to your door. Check out our daily specials at cocaspizza.com. That's Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Welcome back, everybody, to Ysn's Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. My name is Ty Bartell. As we look forward to the rest of the show, we wrapped up on the games that we did have last night that weren't even in state, actually being down in Myrtle Beach, were the finals that we have from last night. We'll see if we'll have any games in store for you tonight as we get updated to that. But one of the teams that are actually coming back from Myrtle Beach, as we have a few more teams down there as spring breaks are kind of mismatched between schools, but one team coming back from their spring break actually is going to be South Range, and it's going to be Coach Hannick with the South Range Raiders baseball team. As we look forward to him coming on at 12:30, get a chance to talk to him about this Myrtle Beach trip too, and just kind of what the experience is like going year to year of just having that spring break and having that experience down there, as well as just getting a chance to talk with a South Range baseball team that is going to have some high aspirations and hopes, you would think, going into this season too, for the baseball realm, as no doubt the Raiders can make some noise, especially in that Division III tournament. Once the wind gets into their sails. So we look forward to Coach Hannick. He'll be coming on as well. And like we also said too, we'll stay in the NE8, but we'll go to the softball realm with Coach Schick of Lakeview softball. He'll be on at 1 o'clock as well. Stay in Lakeview actually, and rewind that back to 12:45. It'll be all Lakeview for about a half an hour on the show, as well as we will have Gavin Mauger of Lakeview football on the show at 12:45 as well. And don't forget, we'll have a couple pre-recorded interviews with Reagan Greenheisen and Coach Daryl Kurtz of Columbiana softball, both still to come on the show as well. We were talking about those power rankings too, and we look where South Range baseball is ranked too. They're continuing to climb up in those power rankings with the schedule that they're facing. A lot of teams that are going to be above them division-wise in the schedule, and we'll just take one last peek at that ahead of Coach Hannock coming on. South Range being right there ranked number 3 too, and some very good quality teams, both D1 teams ranked above them in Canfield and Boardman. But South Range, the highest ranked D3 team on here too, and then JFK, not bad either for D4 being ranked below them too. So looking at that, let us know what you think again on those power rankings too. Again, you can find all those power rankings on the social media pages, ysnlive.com, as well as our YouTube pages too. Follow all that as well to get all the interviews as well. As Coach Hannock, we get him to pop in now.
How you doing?
How we doing today, sir?
Oh, holding up.
Trying to get through all this weather, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not fun.
Try to fight through it. Can't decide if it wants to be winter or spring right now outside. But, Coach, no doubt I want to talk to you first and foremost about this Myrtle trip. But before we get to that, since it is your first time on the show, we always have to start off with a sort of meet the team segment. So for all the viewers that are getting their first chance to meet the South Range baseball team, I want to give you the chance to highlight your seasoned players and some new players that have kind of bursted onto the scene this year for you.
You know, I'm very pleased with our seniors this year. I really feel like they've done a very good job for us, kind of stepping up, filling some key roles. A lot of them are returning starters. They've done a wonderful job. Stevie Rowan, Michael Markulin, Dylan Dominguez, Corey Pennick, Aiden English, Logan Cormel. I'm trying to think, just make sure I'm not leaving anybody out. Those seniors have done a great job. And then, you know, we returned 8 starters from last year. Juniors Billy Skripak, junior Shane Lindstrom. And then you kind of add some newcomers there. Tyson Terajak, as a freshman, has thrown pretty well for us this year. He's been a great asset to have on the mound.
Let's just talk about some of these athletes too that are featured on this team that play multiple sports too, and the success they experience.
And I apologize, Logan Baxter as well is really solidified the shortstop. One of the best shortstops I think I've coached. I think when it's said and done, that'll be the case. But sorry to interrupt.
No, absolutely not, Coach. And I mean, we want to give a shout out to all those players too, because you guys have a lot of talent that is housed over there in South Range. There's no doubt, athletes wise, and they've experienced a lot of success in other sports, whether it be football, state champions, and wrestling too. Talk to me about just the success that a lot of these athletes have, and the name guys that are playing multiple sports, and how influential that is, being guys that experience success in other sports being brought into this team.
It's huge. You know, I think it builds a complete athlete. You know, you can argue playing multiple sports definitely makes you a better athlete. And you know, each sport kind of has its own pressures, I guess, if you will. They're a little bit different in nature. And I just think that, you know, you take a senior 3-sport athlete, let's say, that's been through football, that's or soccer, or it's been through basketball, it's been through wrestling. You know, I just think they handle pressure very well. They carry themselves with a maturity, and they develop leadership qualities. You know, they might not be your major leader on your baseball team, but maybe they were a captain on the football team. They were a captain of a wrestling team, basketball team, and then they're able to to add to the dynamic now come spring season on the baseball team. And I will say too, you know, from a wrestling standpoint, when you're by yourself out on the mat, you know, and nobody's there to bail you out, you have to bail yourself out. It's very similar to being in the batter's box or on the mound, you know.
Yeah, no doubt. And looking at these athletes too, there's no doubt that South Range has had a long lineage of just having success within their sports too. So looking back at this 2018 team that was able to do that, and you talk about the leadership qualities that you're seeing in players now, what are some players from that team that you think were helpful in kind of developing and being a huge influence on the players that are now leading your team that you see now here in 2022?
You know, I mean, Jacob Gehring obviously comes to mind. I mean, you know, he was a freshman that year, so he was around, you know, following, you know, 4 years, and you know, was around last year, obviously, and had, I guess our freshmen that are sophomores now had a direct influence on them. And, he's been around when he was in town. He stopped in a few times, and, always glad to see him when he can make it. But, as you know, and I'm sure you're aware, it's, you're playing Division I sports. It's very time consuming, and, the return visits are few and far between, but I've kept in contact with him, kept in touch, and, he still keeps in touch with some of the guys on the team. Trey Pancake, influential, Brandon Mikos, some of our major guys. They weren't on the 18 team, but, arrived following that. And, we had a good run last year as well, making it to the regional final. And, those guys definitely have an influence on this group this year.
There's no doubt too. And we all know kind of making that state title run, especially in this sport, it takes a little bit of luck and a whole lot of skill to make that kind of run, because it's a fickle sport. But kind of talking about that and kind of getting this interview question out of the way, it feels like you guys are right on track to make that run again, that similar run. But of course, you need some things to go the right way. How are your feelings as far as expectations for this team about midway through this season now and looking forward?
I'm pleased overall with how we're playing. We're kind of working on the small things right now, which is good. The group is kind of, for the most part, played together for a full season last year, like I said, returning the starters that we've returned. So there's continuity there on the field defensively. Offensively, I think we're doing a great job right now, but there's an ebb and flow to that. And, I hope we continue on that trend, but you just never know how things are going to play out. Like you said, it's a fickle sport, fickle game. But we were expecting to contend for the league title. And I think we've put ourselves in position to do so. Still got a big league slate ahead. And, I addressed the guys last night and basically said with, kind of the league games starting to back up against one another, it's basically going to have to be a full pitching staff effort. To be able to ride 1, 2, 3 kids through league play, we're just simply not going to be able to do that right now with, we may have three straight league games, where you may have to go rely on 5, 6 arms to get you through those games. So the guys are ready. I think the guys are ready. The guys are up to the challenge.
Before we look ahead with that schedule a little bit more, I mean, let's recap this Myrtle trip too. First, let's just talk about the experiences and some fun stories from it as well. But just talk to me about how important this trip is, kind of at the midpoint towards the beginning of the season, as far as just bringing that team together.
It's ideal early on for a few reasons. Weather, obviously, and you can see that when you look outside your window. To be able to go down south early and get games in, you're basically guaranteed those games. And also to develop, for the team to kind of grow together as teammates, to get to know each other. It serves its purpose much better towards the beginning half of the year than towards the latter half of the year. But the guys did a great job down there. We were successful 4-0. And just I think it was from a coach's standpoint. I know I had fun. It was a relief, I think, too, to get away, get out of the area, and get into some nice weather. And I think the boys really had a lot of fun.
And talking about this team too, and I mean, just looking at the success that you were able to experience down there, you guys aren't the only team locally that has gone down to Myrtle or gone down to Tennessee or what have you for a spring break and have had success elsewhere. What do you think that speaks to on the baseball and softball level talent? We'll talk baseball, obviously, with your run, but what do you think that speaks on the baseball level talent that we see on this half of the states too, in this state of Ohio?
There's talent. And I think, kids are just, with each year, they're just more and more and more talented. I think back, when I played and, just take it from the pitching standpoint, there were a few hard throwers. There were always a couple names that, could run it up there pretty good. And, but it just seems like more and more and more kids are throwing harder. That top threshold is now raised in terms of velocity. Kids have, when I play fastball, curveball, some kids could throw a change up, some kids couldn't. I mean, now you got some kids that feature 4 different pitches, and they just don't throw 4 different pitches. They can command them as well. So I think the talent pool is deeper as the years have gone by, and I think this area, maybe due to the weather, and we're obviously a football-driven area as well. Comparing us to, let's say, Cincinnati, Southern Ohio, where down in Cincinnati, it's baseball is really, really big. I think an area that's known mostly for football, I think there's an awful lot of baseball talent here as well.
Talking about the baseball talent, let's look at the schedule that you guys lined up now coming back from Myrtle Beach. No doubt this NE8 is always a tough one to get through and come out on top of. Talk about what it's going to take to get conference crowned this season, as well as what it's just going to take to get through some of these non-conference games that you're excited about this season.
It's definitely going to be a team effort. We're definitely going to have to rely on, all 3 phases, if you will, the pitching, the defense, and the offense. And it's not just going to fall on the shoulders of, your 1 and your 2 that typically start league games. We're going to have to, potentially go down, and we may have a 4 running out there to throw in a league game. And again, some years that happens, most years it doesn't. And this is one of those years where, due to the weather, it's what you have to do to get the games in. But I think, and I said this at the beginning of the year, I think this is one of the deepest pitching staffs I've had. I think, we're good at the top as we have been, which, credit to those players who've worked hard and, done what they needed to do to get there. But I think depth, when you start looking at the 3s, the 4s, the 5s, I just think we're deeper than we've been in past years, which bodes well in a year like this.
Coach, we know we always like to do the meet the team segment, but we also like to, with all of our area coaches, do a sort of meet the staff segment as well. And we know with all of the area coaches, they get all that kind of spotlight and the praise, but it's the staff and some other big names in the programs that truly help it out and make it what it is. So I want to give you that opportunity to sort of highlight your staff and put the spotlight on them now.
Coach Paul Munson, heads up my JV program, does an awful lot for our program as a whole. Very, very reliable, very dependent guy. Coach Don DeCellis, which has been with me as well for a number of years. We go back to in the old ITCL days, 2008-9. So kind of go back a while in time. Coach Dion Miller, who's come on a couple years ago, has been a very valuable asset to us. And then, to have 2 former players, Coach Ryan Miller and Coach Dan Masinga, on staff as well. It's nice, to have former players come back to want to coach and to be a part of your program.
Coach, it's a question I like to ask all former players that turn out to be coaches. I want to give you that opportunity to coach yourself. And now in all the experiences and everything you've learned over the course of your baseball career, what would Coach Hannock tell player James Hannock?
Oh, boy. I wish I knew what I know now. I wish I knew then. I think that's I think most people would say that. Oh boy. Yeah, I wish I feel I would have the ability to relax more. I was always uptight, and at times when I played, to be honest here, if I'm in the confessional, so to speak, I got too nervous at times as a player. And, at times that was my undoing. And, if I could have just learned and had the ability to relax a little bit more, that's a trait, I guess, a characteristic I wish I had.
And looking at that too, and just from that experience, that flip that too to maybe a player now that comes up that has those kind of nerves, and we see it all the time too, especially going from that middle school jump to the varsity level in high school. What's some of that advice, and what are some of your ways to kind of combat that for players that kind of experience that jump?
I mean, we try to break. I guess you can break the game down to it's like the game within the game. I guess and I think sometimes when you're thinking too far ahead, you're thinking too big. It's easy to kind of get caught up and easy to kind of get lost. We try a one pitch at a time mentality while we're on the mound. The ability to understand that errors happen defensively, and just to be able to forget about that previous play and look kind of the mentality. I want the ball. I want it hit to me again, and I'm basically going to show you that I'll make the next play. It's probably what we practice. We do different things with our bullpen sessions where there's something that we're working on, whether we're trying to just be 1 ball, 2 strikes after 3 pitches. So we're just throwing bullpens in like 3 pitch sets with the focus on being ahead after 3 pitches, because it's just one of those statistics that correlates to success.
Coach, we obviously wish you the best of success as the season continues to grind down, as we look forward to seeing what the Raiders can do come tournament time, and as well as in that tough NE8 conference. And with little doubt, I'm sure we'll be talking to you again real soon.
All righty. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach.
Have a nice day.
That was Coach James Hannock from South Range Baseball. As we waste little time, we stay in that NE8, but we go to the football side over in Lakeview with Gavin Mauger of the Bulldogs, who is coming on to join me on the show today with some news to break. And Gavin, I'm just going to go ahead and let you break that for anyone who might not know.
What's up? I'll be attending Grove City College to play football.
And I mean, we got to ask that question first and foremost. What made you decide Grove City, and what made it so easy for you to go there?
It just felt like home as soon as I went there on my first visit. It was my first visit I went on, and then I went on a few, and just overall nothing really compared to what Grove City had to offer.
What was the coaching experience like when you saw the coaches there? What were the facilities like? And just kind of take me through that tour that you got, and what the experiences were like for you to make this decision.
Well, I've been talking to like all of the coaches throughout the recruiting process, but Coach Bainey's been really heavy on trying to get me to come out and visit and stuff like that. And then I got there, welcomed by most of the coaching staff was there, but some couldn't make it because it was a weekend. But the facilities were really nice. I mean, just everything that you could ask for in a football program.
Talking about football programs and just looking at this Lakeview football program that you were able to play for, participate for, and represent the last few years, what did you really take away from this program too? And what did you take away from playing for Lakeview football?
I just took away that no matter how the game goes, there's many things that you can learn from the games, and just many life lessons that come out of football and from playing football.
Double that down too with some of the best advice that you've gotten from coaches. It might not even be this season, but maybe lifetime. What is some of the best advice that you've ever gotten from coaches that you still kind of use today?
I'd say the best advice that I got throughout all my years was from Coach Bellino, our new head coach. He just basically told me that I can achieve anything that I want as long as I keep my head down and stay grinding to get that goal.
Talking about goals too, what were some of the goals along this Lakeview journey that you kind of set for yourself that you achieved, maybe even fell short of, but motivates you to set for another one? And what are some goals in the next 5 years that you've set for yourself now?
My goals that I had coming into football, I just wanted to make an impact on and off the field through the community. And I mean, I think I did a pretty good job with that. I also wanted to be a part of the all NE8 team, but I mean, I fell short of that one, but it happens. I mean, it's just going to motivate me to go harder in the future. I haven't really wrote down any goals yet for these next 5 years, but I just want to go in there, show them that I can play, coming from not the most like winning football program, but I mean, I definitely learned things that'll help me. And I just want to go in there, show them that I can compete and earn my spot.
No doubt. And I mean, you got to have the academics checked off as well as the athletics. Kind of take me through your daily routine as being a student athlete in the high school realm and being a senior, especially.
Yeah. Now that we're towards the end of the year, I don't really have that many classes. So right now I go to class for first and third period, and then first, third, and fourth period, and then I go back for seventh. So I have a lot of study halls, but I mean, it just gives me more time to get my work done and then have time to do workouts and go to practice still because I play baseball, but still have time to do other things.
And looking at that baseball team too, it's no doubt a great baseball team, as well as we are continuing to be excited for what Lakeview baseball is doing. But looking at too your entire football career, what were some of the role models that you had at Lakeview? Maybe some seniors along the way that you played under too, that you look to as role models before you came up to your senior year.
I'd say the two biggest role models that I had were Tony Krish and Kyle Roberts. Tony, because he'd walk into wherever he was and he would act like he was that guy. Whether he was that guy there or not, he would always carry that with him. So, and then Kyle Roberts was a big one because he always pushed me in like the weight room. He always knew what my goals were, and he knew that I had to grind to accomplish them.
And flip that too, because with all these players that kind of took you under their wing and kind of mentored you, what were some players that you look to mentor on this team now to kind of leave your legacy behind for years to come in Bulldogs football?
The main player that I would say was one of my people that I took under my wing would have to be Samuel Gillis. I think he's going to be a very talented football player. He's just one of those guys that will outwork anyone in his presence, and I think he's going to be very talented. He's very versatile on the field. I mean, I think the sky's the limit for him.
And looking at that too, I mean, some great coaches have to come through for you to be able to make it to the next level, be able to have these leadership qualities, be able to mentor players like that. And we talked about some of the best advice you've gotten from a coach, but looking at coaching qualities too, and kind of getting that from a player's perspective, what is it, or what are some qualities that you look for in a good coach in a sense?
I just look for a coach that really cares. It's not always about if you win or if you lose. It's about the person that you're becoming every day. Your coaches see you sometimes during the summer more often than your parents do. They spend more times with you. They're big mentors in your life, and you can't have a bad mentor. You'll turn out doing things you shouldn't. I think it's just a very key thing that coaches should, like, I don't know. I feel like they should just make sure that you're being a good person on and off the field. I feel like that's the biggest part.
Hold people accountable for sure.
Yeah.
I get exactly what you mean with that. And talking about that, and you talked about your goals and holding yourself accountable for wanting to be more involved with the community and be a good representative of the community. And to do that, it requires you to get a little bit closer with that community. And we know Cortland loves its sports, and it'll get out there and support. So just talk to me about what that relationship has been like with the Lakeview community, what the relationship you've built with the community, and what you're kind of excited about leaving, well, not necessarily leaving behind, or excited about what you were able to build relationship wise with Cortland.
I feel like I've made a lot of lasting memories and connections with different people. Whether it's just seeing someone that I know through football at the grocery store or whatever it is, whether it's going and helping these little kids at football camps or our flag football league that we have. It's just makes lasting memories and lasting impressions on me, and I know it does for the people around me.
You mentioned earlier too about coaches, and a good coach quality is the winning isn't everything mentality, and there's still ways to incorporate good things out of it too. And in asking this, and this is a question I like to ask both athletes and coaches too, what does success look like to you? Because obviously success doesn't always mean winning. It doesn't always mean stats. But what does success look like to you?
I think you can really measure success by like what happens off of the field. Whether you take a guy that's not really trying in school or something and turn them into an AB student, a person that really cares. I mean, I think success is really just like forming the person that you've always wanted to be and getting that help from those coaches to help you become that person.
Let's talk about the excitement and nervousness level of just going to the next level to continue your athletic career. Where are those standing right now for you as you go into the next level?
I'm a little nervous. I mean, it's nerve-wracking playing for a new team, meeting new people, all of that. But I think it's going to bring a lot of amazing relationships and things to my life.
I also want to give you that chance to shout out your support system, the people that have been there for you in the Lakeview community cheering you on, family members as well. I just want to give you that chance to kind of put the spotlight on them for a second.
Yeah, I just want to thank all my friends, my parents, my coaches, the whole Lakeview community that has supported me since the first day I stepped onto that field.
As they are going to continue to support you, and we're going to continue to support you as well as you go to Grove City, Gavin, as we wish you the best of luck there in your future athletic career, and we hope to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you.
That was Gavin Mauger of Lakeview Football. Now going to be over at Grove City, too. A nice interview with him as we get into the football realm. And folks, we talk about it, and you talk about it being baseball, softball season. I know we look outside. It doesn't even look like it's that right now. It looks like we might still be playing on some hardwoods right now. But I tell you what, folks, football is not that far away, and we'll be talking about that and getting into the thick of that madness before you know it. But I think everyone at HQ, DJ, and all them are just saying, pump the brakes on that real quick. They don't even want to think about that until we have to start officially getting into all of that, still wanting to live it up in the baseball, softball realm. And that's exactly what we're going to do, as we still have to go into the softball realm. We already had our live baseball interview of the day with Coach Hannick of South Range Baseball. We got to go into the Lakeview softball realm, and we got to continue with this Lakeview train, as Coach Schick of Lakeview Softball is going to be joining us here at 1 o'clock. And this is a Lakeview Bulldogs team on the softball side of things that has been looking very good and a very tough team inside that NE8. And that conference is going to be a fun thing to discuss too with Coach Schick, and just some upcoming games that I don't know if you've looked at their schedule. There's some fun ones that are on the docket. I'm excited to talk with Coach Schick about that as we look forward to that. But we also need to just recap real quick when talking with both Coach Hannick and then Gavin Mauger of Lakeview. Just talking with Coach Hannick, I think it was just really nice the first time of bringing him on to getting that recap of Myrtle Beach and just getting that recap of what it's like early on in the season to get that kind of bonding experience for a team and how much that helps a team propel them in the second half of a season too. I think it was interesting talking about that. I think it's also interesting talking about just the competition level that the Raiders are going to have to play too. And how about that comment too on the deepest the pitching staff has been? It's a pitching staff that has featured Jacob Gehring in it. So it's a staff that it's going to be scary too. You saw where they were ranked number 3 on our baseball power rankings, and with due diligence, they're ranked number 3 and possibly looking to be ranked even higher too, as the Raiders. Of course, you always need a little bit of luck in those tournament runs, but Raiders are primed to make a deep one. You got to remember regional finalists last year as well. So definitely we're competing. And then we go into Gavin Mauger too. It was just fun talking a little bit into the football realm as well, and just talking with another high school athlete that's going into the next level. We always love highlighting our high school athletes that are going to be featured into the next level of the sports world. So always excited to talk with them, as we wish the best of luck and congratulate again Gavin Mauger of Lakeview Football and going into the next level to play football at Grove City. As we look to stay in the Lakeview realm, as I said, we'll go into an interview with Coach Schick in just moments too. Don't forget too, we also have a Reagan Greenheisen pre-recorded interview with Anthony Hartwig. You'll still hear the other co-host of Running Point's voice today too, even though he's down living it up in Georgia. He did a pre-recorded one with Reagan Greenheisen that was posted yesterday too. All 3 of these interviews that Anthony did was posted. We featured the Sky's the Limit one with Skylar Greenhausen yesterday, and we'll feature I believe it was called "It's Too Easy Being Green" for Reagan Greenheisen's interview. So it'll be fun talking or listening to that, as well as we also have Coach Kurtz's interview that was done with Columbiana softball just prior to the show today. So literally fresh off the oven for that as well. So we'll be excited to get into Clippers softball as well. As we are moments away from Coach Schick joining too, we know that Cortland Wi-Fi always giving trouble too. We've had issues with that as well. So we hope Glitch Gremlins momentarily stay away as we look forward to talking to the head coach of Bulldogs softball over there in Lakeview. As we await him too, we look back at those power rankings too. I want to get your opinions again. We'll circle back to this. Let us know what you think. These just came out yesterday at 8 o'clock. Monday, dropped at Monday at 8 o'clock. Yeah. Let us know what you think, though. We have them. Let me pull them up here. Trying to get them up. There we go. As we'll pull up the softball ones again. Let us know what you think again. There's the softball power rankings 1 through 10. Falcons featured at 1. Teams going up and down. We see Lakeview featured there at 8. And then there's the baseball one, too. Let us know what you think again on these power rankings on the baseball and softball side of things. As we now look to add Coach Schick, if we can, here to the interview from Lakeview softball.
I just have no video. So
all right, no video for Coach Schick, but we still got him here. Coach, how we doing today?
Good, buddy. What are you up to? How are you?
Oh, not bad at all. Not bad at all, Coach. I mean, you guys aren't doing bad at all either. Let's start there as you guys get a few games in. I mean, obviously trying to dodge this crazy weather we're having for the quote unquote spring. But looking at this, what are expectations to what you've seen from this team? I know we talked a lot about this team needing to finish games. What have you seen from the team so far this season? Oh, as I believe Glitch Gremlins, there you go. Attacking on it. We'll have to wait on Coach Schick for him to get back into this one, as we had him for audio only, no video, and a little bit of trouble on that front. So we'll continue to await Coach Schick to get back on this show. We'll go into the softball power rankings again. Talk about the fact that Lakeview still having to play a lot of teams in the conference, namely 2, 9, and 10 still on the conference. They're also going to be playing number 5 champion this upcoming week. So a lot of huge games for the Bulldogs on the docket where you come away victorious with some of them. It's going to continue gaining momentum for these Bulldogs. And boy, oh boy, have they come out on the season pretty hot too. I mean, Maggie Pavlansky and Kylie Imes, might as well call them the bomb squad too, both of them with 3 home runs on the season already. It's unbelievable. A couple players batting over 500, including Reagan Schick too, which is just unbelievable. And they're still 2-0 in the conference. So it's going to be interesting to see how Lakeview is going to battle with some of these other teams too, all looking to get on top of the NE8. So there's a lot of games coming up inside that NE8 that is going to be fun to talk to. As we do await Coach Schick or see if we can get something squared away with him. We always know that Lakeview or the Cortland Wi-Fi is always struggling out there to get connection on the StreamYard. So we'll see if we can get him on. But until then, we'll actually get one of these pre-recorded interviews up and on for you now as we go into Anthony Hartwig's interview with Reagan Greenheisen of West Branch Softball. We got to hear his interview with Skylar the other day. Now we get to see the other side with Reagan, as here's this interview conducted by Anthony Hartwig.
With a West Branch softball player profile, I am joined by freshman Reagan Greenheisen. Reagan, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. It's great to talk to you and welcome into varsity softball.
Thank you.
Here comes your first year of high school. What's it kind of been like so far compared to maybe your expectations of what varsity softball is going to be like?
It's pretty much lived up to everything I thought it was gonna be. I mean, my sister's a senior, so I've like been around it for most of my life. Well, most of them like the last 3 years. So, I mean, it's definitely different from a lot of my travel teams, of course, since different coaching and just a different team, of course. So, it's definitely a different atmosphere, but it's going really great for me.
Maybe your first year of softball, but not your first experience in the varsity level, because you were also on the varsity volleyball team and you got your taste of kind of what the standard is at the varsity level. How much did that volleyball season kind of prepare you for what to expect at the varsity level during softball season?
It definitely like introduced me to how like different it is playing, especially girls like older than me, and how it different like teams and everything, and how like teams are definitely better like as you get on and in tournaments. And it's kind of weird because I'm used to playing more than one game in a day, but it's definitely a different experience. So
I apologize about that, folks. We're going to actually put that on hold because we were able to work something out with Coach Nate Schick, and we will continue into Reagan Greenheisen's interview still on the show. Don't worry about that, but we're going to bring Nate Schick into this interview now. Now that we're able to get him on, we battled through the Cortland Wi-Fi yet again, Coach, and here we are.
We'll see. Now, listen, we got to get this straight. I'm in Ashtabula County, so way worse up here for Wi-Fi.
So even worse than what we think. We'll try to get through
worse. Yep.
We'll get through it as best as we can, Coach. We'll go into this, though. No doubt. I wanted to go right back into that question on just early season expectations and what we've seen. We talked before the season about this team goal was finishing games too, and they were tested right out of the gate with Struthers, and they were able to answer the bell there. But what have you seen from this team, expectations to reality wise, that you're excited about, and what are some things you're looking to improve on with this team as well?
Yeah, we're definitely improving as far as being able to finish a little bit more than what we have in the past. And I think that's a maturity thing for the girls and just growing up and playing a little bit more together. As far as, we're just riding a roller coaster as far as getting better and what we need to improve on. Consistent defense, I think everybody always wants to improve on that, especially when you're dealing with, girls softball in general, because the sport is so fast. So the inconsistency is greater than a lot of sports overall. So we just try to get better every day, and we try to improve on our mistakes and learn from them.
And let's talk about some of these upcoming games, because I think you guys have looked really good, but you're going to be tested here. If everything holds true, it looks like you have Champion next on the docket tomorrow. Just talk to me about the excitement of being able to play another one of the area's better softball teams, because we know competition levels are very high around this area.
Yes. So yeah, this week, actually, I think we go Champion Wednesday, and then we go Howland Thursday, and we go South Range Friday. So obviously that's quite the buzzsaw. But we're looking forward to it. You're not going to get better unless you play better teams. So and that's what we're trying to preach to the girls and try to get them to understand. Like, everybody always loves a 15-0 or 15-1 win, but the character builders are truly the 3-1 or the 2-1 wins and losses. That's what's going to make them, better adults one day, so we're looking forward to the challenge. And I think then we're off Saturday, Sunday. We have a youth camp Saturday, and then Monday, Tuesday, I think we go Poland. So it's going to be a fun 5 games. We're looking forward to it. The girls are looking forward to it. It's just going to be fun just to compete and kind of see what kind of strides we've made in the Northeast state and really in our area, just to kind of keep getting better.
And if I'm not mistaken, 2-0 in the conference right now, so you guys are still well competing within it. Talk about these games too. I mean, a lot of we see Hubbard, we see Poland, we see South Range. It just feels like it's a gauntlet. What do you think the 2 wins that they have been able to get in the conference is going to build confidence-wise going forward in these games?
We're going to build off of them, even though that they seem like they were literally a month ago. And that's going to be the challenge. These next 3 weeks is we have so many conference games still to play, and we're not the only one in that boat. Every team's going to be the same. So, we're trying to get creative with the schedule and, potentially playing on some Sundays moving forward. It's going to be kind of crazy for all of us. And, it's going to be who's going to be able to, make enough plays and have enough pitching to keep moving.
Let's talk about what we deem the bomb squad, or the Thunderbats, and Imes and Pavlansky, both with a trio of home runs already on the season. What have you seen from the offense of this Bulldogs that has gotten into them? Plus 2 players also batting over 500.
Yeah, we apparently we can hit a little bit, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing for sure. And honestly, it's the best part about our offense is that it's not just it's not just Kylie one day. It's not just Maggie one day. It's not just Reagan one day. We have some freshmen and sophomores stepping up and, filling some holes. If Maggie's off one day or Reagan's off one day, then hopefully one of the freshmen or sophomores will, step up and have a couple hits. Or, we have, I think we have 5, maybe 4, 5 or 6 different kids already with a home run and extra base hits, and being freshmen and sophomores as well. So it's just fun to see the depth of our offense, and that's what we keep preaching. Every at bat is new. Your at bat starts in the on deck circle. If you strike out, flush it, get them the next at bat. So it's a good mentality to have, and the girls kind of feed off of each other. It's a high energy dugout, and it's the highest energy dugout we've had, and this is my 4th year since I've been here. So it's really fun to watch.
Can't talk about this team without talking about Reagan and talking about her. We've had her on the show and grown so much as a leader already, as far as the voice of the team and motivating the team, but also doing it with her bat as one of those players that has really come onto the scene again this season and is just tearing things up. Just talk to me about how proud you must be of her too, and just the success she's having both on the field as well as just with her teammates off the field as a leader.
Yeah, as a parent, putting my dad glasses on, I guess, for a minute, you're always proud because you see how much time they put in the weight room, in the batting cage, and just your routine workouts, in the winter. It's always humbling to see that, translate over onto the field, and that's what you want for your kid. As far as the team, yeah, she, the team rolls as far as her and Kylie roll, and neither of them are huge vocal leaders. They're lead by example type kids, and I couldn't ask for 2 better lead by example kids, because the other girls look up to them. They're because they are humble kids, and they take care of business. They don't need the praise. They don't want the praise. It just shows. It shows up on the field for sure.
Coach, I want to give you one more question because I know you're on a time crunch here, but looking at this team and what we talked about the first time around, we talked about this team needing to finish games and that kind of being a goal. Do you see that way that last season ended coming into this year being that added motivation for these girls? And do you see them playing with that added motivation? Because in just the players we've talked to, it seems like that's kind of resonating from them.
Oh, absolutely. We preach finishing games literally every time we're together. So it's eventually got to catch on, you would think. And I think it has showed. I think Columbiana was probably our most well-rounded game, and we didn't let them back in it. And those are the things. It's always a big sigh of relief when you can win a game. I think it was like 7-1, 6-1, something like that. And obviously that's not a big lead, but coming from the 2 previous games that we were both in extra inning games, and in the 8th inning, we had to win in the 8th inning. It was a good win in 7-1, and then I think we went on and split this past weekend with St. Vincent St. Mary, a very solid team coming to Akron to play us, which was awesome of them. It was split with them, and we lost the first game, but we came back in the last inning and almost come back all the way and beat them. I think we scored 6 or 7 runs in the 7th inning again and almost come back to beat them. So we're getting there. We're getting there. As long as we finish some of these games, we'll be content, we'll be happy, and the girls are getting better for sure.
We asked all our coaches this too, and I'll let you leave with this. What does your ideal dugout look like?
Oh boy, that's a good one. Just supporting each other, happy, yelling, cheering, just celebrating each other's success, and that's the reality. And if someone has a sack bunt, she walks back in that door, there better be 8, 9, 10 girls there to celebrate her. If she strikes out, there better be 8, 9, 10 girls there. Like, hey, you got next time. Remember, you got another at bat coming. So we the positivity is the perfect dugout. Positivity for sure, and excitement. I tell the girls all the time to try to watch the college college games that are on more and more, which is awesome to see. For one, on ESPN, your ESPNUs, all your streaming, your Big Tens and ACC, SECs are showing a lot of college softball. And when you see those dugouts, that's what you learn from. And those girls, they leave it all on the field every single game. And and you can learn a lot by watching them. Just the fun and the true innocence and fun that they're having playing this sport. It's phenomenal to see.
Coach, you guys have been phenomenal to see it, as well as we look forward to this game you have coming up with Champion. Hopefully we could thaw some things out and get these fields clear for it. But we wish you the best of luck in the season, and we'll be talking to you again real soon.
Ty, thanks, man. Great job to you guys again. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach. As that was Coach Nate Schick of Lakeview Softball. Always great talking to him. And I mean, ranked number 7 in our power rankings on the softball side of things. They're fighting in that NE8, and it's going to be fun watching those conference games. But that's a tough test too, against number 5 Champion, and going to be exciting to see what the Bulldogs have to offer. No doubt. We highlight Maggie Pavlansky, Kylie Imes, Reagan Schick, all phenomenal talent over there with Lakeview. They do a phenomenal job too, and they're motivated. We talked with them earlier in the season. They're no doubt motivated by the way last year ended, and finishing games was huge. And the way the sports world works out, where Struthers happened to test them just like that, and they were able to answer the test to open things up for the season. As that, no doubt, great to talk with Coach Schick and get a check-in nonetheless on the softball side of things. I want to go back into the Reagan Greenheisen interview too, as we had to cut that one off a little bit short as some glitch gremlins difficulties trying to get Coach Schick on, but we were able to do so too. But I still want to give Reagan Greenheisen her due diligence and her interview with Anthony Hartwig that was conducted pre-recorded under the article name It's Too Easy Being Green. So you can find that at ysnlive.com as well as our YouTube page. But without further ado, here is Anthony Hartwig's interview with Reagan Greenheisen.
A West Branch softball player profile. I am joined by freshman Reagan Greenheisen. Reagan, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. It's great to talk to you, and welcome into varsity softball.
Thank you.
Here comes your first year of high school. And what's it kind of been like so far compared to maybe your expectations of what varsity softball is going to be like?
It's pretty much lived up to everything I thought it was going to be. I mean, my sister's a senior, so I've been around it for most of my life. Well, most of them, the last 3 years. So, I mean, it's definitely different from a lot of my travel teams, of course, since different coaching and just a different team, of course. So it's definitely a different atmosphere, but it's going really great for me.
Maybe your first year of softball, but not your first experience in the varsity level, because you were also on the varsity volleyball team and you got your taste of kind of what the standard is at the varsity level. How much did that volleyball season kind of prepare you for what to expect at the varsity level during softball season?
It definitely introduced me to how different it is playing, especially girls older than me, and how it different teams and everything, and how teams are definitely better as you get on and in tournaments. And it's kind of weird because I'm used to playing more than one game in a day, but it's definitely a different experience. So.
And you said it, you get to play with your sister, you get to experience this with her. Talk about the dynamic there. What's that been like, and how blessed you are to get this year with her?
Well, it's definitely a unique experience that not a lot of people get to experience, and I'm very grateful for that. Volleyball was definitely the introduction to that, and I think it's a little bit better because we've already gone through volleyball, but we're sisters, we're going to fight, but I try to treat her as my teammate as much as I can. Of course, we're going to fight, we're sisters. I've been with her obviously my entire life, so it's just hard to have to take a minute to take a step back and be okay, we're teammates. I have to calm down. I can't just yell at her all the time. So
what's that one thing that she can do that she knows gets under your skin? Because there's that sister, so she knows how to get under your skin. What's that one thing? Even it could be off the softball field. One thing that she does, it's
definitely taking my stuff. She always takes my stuff out of my room, and she I try to take corrections from her nicely, but I don't know, something about anyone else giving me correction is fine, but her, it just, I don't know, it just makes me mad, and I just don't know why. But definitely taking my stuff and I just never seeing it again. So
So those are the things that kind of irritate you, but obviously there are lots of things that you love about it. What are some of the best things and best things you've taken from her and being able to play with her in volleyball season and now already with 5 games in for softball?
It makes it kind of more unique and very fun because it's fun because I still joke around with her and stuff. It was very smooth transitioning. Oh my god, I can't say that. But and all of those people that I'm playing with are her friends, and I've grown up with them. Like a lot of people I've known for a long time. I mean, all the freshmen I've been friends with for a very, very long time, obviously, and it just makes it easier to kind of blend on the team and just makes it a better experience.
And you make a great point. Since she's been playing for so long, you've been able to kind of grow up with this team and get to know the
Mhm.
people that she plays with. How easy has that been? Has that made gelling with this team as a freshman?
It's definitely a lot easier. I mean, all the seniors have said like this is the best like bonding group that they've had. So I think that's a very, very good thing. I mean, half of us are basically seniors and freshmen, so but we all blend very, very well on the field and just together, even on and off the field. I think it's very nice to be able to do that, and I think it helps us overall.
Talk about the senior class as a whole, because I know we've talked about your sister, but she's not the only one out there.
Yeah.
How much they really helped you and how much their leadership is really shining through this season.
Um, we have a lot of captains, so that is definitely it's honestly a good thing in my opinion because I know that I don't always want to go to my sister, but I know there's like a lot other options to be able to go and know that I can trust them to talk to. And they're all very, very good leaders and everything. And I'm very grateful for that to have an older role model, role model to go up to and be able to be comfortable enough to talk to them.
Let's talk about your first year under Coach Woods. I mean, one of the legends in the softball world in this area. She's been doing it for so long. What's it like being coached by her and this coaching staff? And already, just a couple of weeks into the season, what have you kind of absorbed from being able to learn from her?
It's a very great experience to be able to be under someone with that much experience, and I think it's really great for me to see a different coaching point of view. And it was a little bit hard to transition at first, but you just kind of have to pick it up. But it was easy. A lot of things that she's told me and said to me have really helped me improve on certain things because I'm doing stuff that I wouldn't normally do on my regular team, but it has helped me like smoothly transition onto other things, and it has definitely like helped me be under a different coaching point of view.
I know it's early because they haven't had too much time with her, but has there been one thing yet that she said that was like a aha moment where it's like, oh, okay, this really works, and maybe open up the trusting doors a little bit?
Well, speaking of opening up, she helped has pointed out opening up to us where it just helps you get closer to the ball if you're struggling to make contact or anything. So I think that's a really great thing for me because it definitely gives me, if I'm struggling or in a hitting slump, it definitely helps me try to get out of that or gives me a little bit more confidence to get out of that. So I think that's honestly a good thing for me, even in travel season or whenever I might need it, just to get out of that and give me some more confidence to go back to my regular hitting.
And man, you are always busy. I see you play travel ball, but you also play JO volleyball. You made the trip to Indianapolis a couple weeks ago. What's this life like that you live where it's so chaotic? You're either playing volleyball, you're playing softball. Feel like you don't have time to really do much anything else other than sports. What's it like kind of trying to balance all that together?
It's definitely a struggle. I mean, school always comes first, and I know that even through volleyball season, I had to go to volleyball but over travel softball, so it's definitely different. I mean, I go to as much volleyball as I can, and we only have practices 2 times a week or 3 times a week. But most of the time on weekends we have a tournament. But it's definitely hard to try to balance both my sports and school. So, I mean, I'm not playing travel softball right now. It's just school. So that makes it a little bit easier. But right now it's not too bad. But during the beginning, it was definitely hard to try to transition and make sure I can have time for everything.
We have a lot of time to figure this out, but do you have a favorite that you're leaning with between volleyball and softball? Is there one that you lean a little bit heavier towards?
I honestly could not say because I've put a lot of time and effort into both, but right now my main focus is probably volleyball, probably volleyball, but obviously I still take softball serious no matter what. It just I don't know, I go to a lot of probably because I'm going to a lot of bigger tournaments and I'm with my JO team and I don't get to see them all year round. So, but school softball is definitely it's a close race. I mean, I'm only a freshman. I cannot really tell. It switches probably every week, if I'm being honest.
I
It
mean,
switches depending on the week.
you got a lot of time to make that decision, and if you
Mhm.
don't want to make it, you can just do what your teammate Sydney Mercer does and just play both in college. Why
I
not,
don't
right?
know. I mean, I might be ambitious, but I don't know how that will work out for me. That's a lot.
What's been your favorite moment so far with this softball team? I know once again it's early. You haven't gotten a lot of games in because of weather, but what's been your favorite memory so far with this softball program that you've been able to make?
Probably just like our first game, stepping out on the varsity field for my first time in an actual game at home was definitely an experience for me. I mean, I was a little bit nervous, of course, but that's with anything. So I think that was probably like the best moment, or whenever my sister hits home runs. I mean, it's just like a great experience to be able to support her on the field, not just cheering on like outside the field.
Yeah, you've had to have those jitters. I mean, run us
Mhm.
through maybe the first time a ball was hit to you, and also your first at bat, and you're batting leadoff, so there's no time to really let it sink in. What were those two moments like? The first ball that got hit to you at second, and then your first at bat stepping into the varsity field.
I definitely just had to like take it slow. I mean, I just have to like, because in the moment you don't really think, but afterwards it's kind of like, whoa, I did that. But especially my first at bat, because during batting you have a lot of time to think, but in the field like it's hit to you and you just have to go. So I think like batting was a little bit more of a struggle for me to like try to get over my nerves and everything. But once I get in there, I just had to like calm myself down and just take it easy and take it slow and make sure I don't like hype myself up or get too down on myself or nervous, because it just doesn't end well for me whenever I do that.
We know pregame routines are so important for softball players. So, what's your pregame routine, and do you have anything that you like have to stick to? And if you don't, you're gonna feel off the whole game.
Probably I have my one water bottle that I take. I have one for volleyball, one for softball. So I have to have my certain water bottle. I can't have my other one, or else it's just not good for me. And I just have to eat. I have to eat. It could be anything. I just have to eat something.
So you're someone you like to eat before the game. What's kind of like if you could pick one thing to eat before every game, what's the go-to snack that you want to eat before a game?
I mean, Chipotle, if I'm being honest. Some people might think it's heavy, but I mean, I'm usually okay. Some people don't like to eat before a game, but for some reason I'm okay. I mean, I don't eat right before a game. Like I usually eat in the locker room, I usually like an hour or a little bit less before the game, and it just kind of helps me like because I just get a little bit more awake whenever I eat, and when I'm hungry, it just doesn't work out for me. So probably Chipotle.
What's the go-to Chipotle order for you?
Gotta go with a burrito, of course.
Yes.
Always got the burrito and chips and queso.
What is kind of the pregame playlist look like for Reagan Greenheisen? I mean, what kind of songs get you really hyped up? And if you were able to get a walk-up song, what would your walk-up song be?
Well, my walk-up song right now is 23, which I really like that one. I could not pick one because I'm a very indecisive person, so I could not pick one for the longest time. And people would just throw like options at me, and I finally just decided on that one. So that's probably my playlist. Probably some Travis Scott and Yeet and other stuff like that.
No, you get to spend time with your teammates, and I'm sure they've all kind of exposed their music taste. Does it kind of gel with yours, or do you look at some of your teammates and go, "You're crazy that this music is trash"?
Well, sometimes, yeah, there are moments, but most of the time I'm like, I kind of like this song and add it to my playlist. I have a very limited playlist. I usually just kind of let it go on like unlimited. So, I mean, whatever pops up and I like it, I usually add it to that. So,
With how active you are in sports, and you're doing volleyball, you're doing softball, you're doing travel, all that stuff. What kind of things do you try to do to take your mind off of it if it ever becomes too much, or to just kind of give your own body and your own mind a break from athletics?
well, I try to use my nights off or whatever I have, and if I don't have any too much schoolwork or anything, I usually just try to like lay in bed, maybe read a book or something like that. Because reading is pretty relaxing to me, I guess, and some books just really like get me in, or I just play on my phone or watch a movie or something.
All right, you're not just introduced into the varsity level of softball, but you're also introduced this year to the freshman year of high school and all the stuff that comes in with high school schoolwork and all that. What's been your favorite subject so far, and what's been your favorite part of just being in the high school?
Probably like my favorite subject is probably biology. I'm just really into like that kind of stuff. I want to go into biomedical engineering, so it just seems really interesting to me right now. It makes me want to do my schoolwork, and that's a pretty now it's starting to get a little bit harder, and I enjoy it for the most part, but that's probably my favorite thing, just like being in the high school, having that high school experience, and in the beginning of the year going to football games every Friday night. That was definitely like a new experience, but a very very nice experience for me.
All right, Reagan, before we let you go, with every player profile, we like to give the player the chance to kind of shout out their support system, the people that are always there for them, and the people that they really couldn't do this journey without. So I want to give you the chance to shout out your support system and the people that are there for you all the time.
Definitely my mom and my dad and my sister. My sister's a very big push for me, and as much as I might not like it, she definitely pushes me to be who I am. And growing up watching her play and everything, I think that really impacted me and how good I am and how I play today. So I'm really glad for her, and I'm glad for my mom and dad for just pushing me and giving me the opportunity to play where I do and take lessons and go to JO and travel and take me out on my tournaments that are far away. And as much as they might not love it all the time, they still do it, and I'm very, very, very grateful for that.
All right, Reagan, thank you so much for joining us today. It was great to catch up with you. We wish you the best of luck the rest of the season, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
As that was Anthony Hartwig's interview with Reagan Greenheisen of West Branch Softball. Glad to hear that. If you missed any of that, again, you can find it at ysnlive.com under the article title. It's Too Easy Being Green. And it's also on our YouTube page at YSN Live on YouTube. So like our page, subscribe to it, and hit that notification bell so you get updated on all video content that gets dropped on our YouTube page. That wasn't the only one we had as far as interviews. We also have one that's going to get featured here in the Columbiana softball realm with Coach Kurtz. We actually talked to him just prior to the show, moments before the show today, about this team coming back from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, to that trip, as well as just how the Clippers are looking going into this season, too, as they're starting to heat up at the right time, and that EOAC is wide open with some big games on the slate. I got a chance to talk with Coach Kurtz again moments before the show, so without further ado, here is that interview with Columbiana softball head coach, Coach Daryl Kurtz. Welcome in, everyone. Ty Bartell in with another Coach's Corner as we head into the Columbiana realm. We go back to Coach Daryl Kurtz of the Columbiana Clippers softball team. Coach, how we doing?
Excellent. Yeah, it's good to be back in the frigid temperatures that is Ohio.
I mean, you talk about being back in frigid temperatures. Let's just start right there. This Pigeon Forge trip down in Tennessee. I mean, let's also preface a pretty successful trip at that as well, too. I believe you guys go undefeated down in Pigeon Forge. But on top of the games, too, talk about the game experiences, but also talk a little bit about just the experience of the trip overall as well.
Well, I know for our girls, this was kind of like building because this has been 3 years in the making. Obviously, we had the COVID year we lost. Last year we weren't allowed to travel. And then even leading up to this trip, there was some uncertainty. There was some forest fires in Pigeon Forge. Luckily they got that under control and everything was good. So it was kind of like this thing that was like building and the anticipation and from year to year. And then we finally got to do it. And man, I couldn't be more happy with the way the trip went. The girls played incredible softball all weekend. We were able to get 3 varsity games in, 3 JV games, really good competition down there. The weather was great. The fields were amazing. The view was good. I don't know. On our Facebook page, we shared a bunch of pics. I think you guys maybe shared a couple of those. But yeah, it was a fantastic weekend. And unfortunately, we didn't bring that weather back with us. You know, we come in yesterday to like 30 degrees temperatures, and then it starts snowing last night and then snow today. So it kind of stinks as far as that getting back to Ohio, but hopefully the weather's going to break here and we can continue to get some games in.
Doubling back on that too. I mean, yeah, we get the snow today. Hopefully this is the last time that winter wants to rear its ugly head before we get into some warmer months too, Coach. But yeah. Talking about this trip though, you guys, another team going from this part of Ohio out of state and having some success in out of state tournaments too, with some pretty decent competition that you guys are facing too. What do you think it speaks to on the baseball and softball in the area of northeastern Ohio too, and just the competition levels that you guys face within the state, and how you guys are able to kind of flex your muscles out of state too, than how we're seeing it from not only you, but just all kinds of schools in the area?
Yeah, I think as far as the state goes, I think we're right here. This is one of the most competitive regions in the state. I mean, as far as softball, Division I, you got Fitch, you got some really good schools in around Youngstown. You got South Range. Us. I like to put us on that pedestal too. I mean, I think this area, we have girls that are going. We have some Division I girls from the area. We have girls who are playing Division II softball, Division III softball. It doesn't matter. We're putting girls out there on teams, and I think it just speaks to the competitiveness in our area and the drive of the girls and the coaches. And we're just trying to get better and keep taking our teams and playing better competition.
No, I did it too, Coach. It's on my end. No, speaking on the competition that you have coming up too. I mean, you go from these out-of-state tournament games, some good competition out of state, but now it comes back to the conference, and it's Wellsville, and then it's United, and these are some pretty big conference games on the slate too. What do you feel as far as the girls' readiness is for these upcoming conference games, and what are some things you think you might need to prepare on some more before facing these upcoming conference opponents?
Well, before I get into that, I'll just talk about the three teams that we played down south, because I kind of skipped over that when you originally. The first team we played was Weir, West Virginia. We actually had a common opponent with them. They play Oak Glen. That's like one of their rivalries. So we beat them 2-1 down there. They gave us an excellent game, great pitching. Tori Long, who's our stud pitcher, pitched that game. She went 7 innings, and it was 1-1. She started the 8th. And we ended up making a pitching change and brought in Caitlin Pluska, who's our number 2. She got out of a jam with a runner on, and we ended up walking it off in the bottom of the 8th with a nice rising backspin line drive over the center fielder's head for an inside the park home run by Julia Rapp. So that's how we started down there. A 2-1 tight ball game. Not a ton of hits, great defense, great pitching. That's exactly what we're looking for when we wanted to go out of state and play in a tournament like this. Our second game we played against I have it written down in front of me, Mount Blue. That was their first time they actually got outside. They're from up north, Maine. I think they still have like 4 inches on the ground. So I was speaking to their coach before the game. So they were just happy to be outside. And we were able to take care of them. A great offensive game for us. We had 15 hits, a lot of contributions across the board. Caitlin Pluska started that game for us, and she pitched great. She ended up getting a W. She had 11 strikeouts. Ella Doda hit a 3-run inside the park home run for us during that game. So that was an exciting game. And then that final varsity game on Saturday was against Station Camp, which is another big school, a 4A school out of Tennessee. It's actually they're from Gallatinburg, not Gatlinburg. That was a big confusion we had. We thought they were from Gatlinburg, but they were from Gallatin. And another great game, 3-1, a pitcher's duel. Tori again took the mound for us, went 7 strong. Great defense behind her. Pleska was playing shortstop that game. She had 6 assists. It was clean. Marin Hepler at second base had a couple hard hit balls at her that she was able to field. Our third baseman, Cameron Perkins, did a great job. And that I tell the girls this all the time. Great defense is what really excites me. When we're playing really good defense, I know we have a chance to win any game we're in because we have the pitching. But if we play defense behind that pitcher, I think we're in a good place. That last game, Caitlin Pluska was 2 for 3. She had a 2-run triple that gave us the lead, and then we got an insurance run there in the 7th. We were able to close them out 3-1, and it was just a super exciting weekend. Now, how does that translate back here? So hopefully we can carry all that momentum. Hopefully, like I said, the weather breaks a little bit. I think our girls play a little bit better when it's 70 degrees outside than they do when it's 40. It's going to be a tough trip. We're playing a doubleheader on a Wednesday in Wellsville tomorrow. So we're going to go down there and take care of business. and then we got prom weekend. So we played a ton of softball last weekend, and then tomorrow night we have our Wellsville doubleheader, and then it's kind of like no softball until United, which is this coming Monday. And that's a big game for us because as of right now, it's us and them at the top of the conference. And I know they have, I believe it's the first girl that's on the mound, and she's been excellent to start the season. We're excited to get after them and play some good softball. We get the home and away on Monday and Wednesday. And then next Friday is another excellent test for us. I don't know how far you're looking ahead. We got Fitch on the turf, and we're super pumped for that. Those are the games that we want to play. We want to play the best in this area, and we want to see what we have.
I have a feeling I'll be in the ballpark during that one, Coach, and I'll have to swing by and say hi to you guys as well too. You mentioned Tori Long in the circle, and you guys do. You have a multitude of pitchers that have gotten innings for you this season, but Tori Long, no doubt, the workhorse, coming in with a sub-2 ERA. Just talk a little bit about her success this season and how influential she has been to the hot start you guys have been able to get to this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just talking about this weekend, 14 innings, 1 earned run. And I think she ended up with maybe 12 or 13 strikeouts in those 14 innings. Those are good hitters. There was not many holes in those lineups she was facing. She was able to attack, get ahead, and use what I think is one of the best defenses we've had in a while behind her. We have a solid infield. Our catcher is doing a great job managing the staff. Audrey Smith, she's a senior. Our outfield defense is solid around from left to right. We got Doda out there. We got Julia Rapp in center field who can just fly and cover ground. We got Elena Johnson, who hasn't taken a bad route to a ball all year. So the defense is really what excites me, and just having her have the confidence that if they put the ball in play, we have her back. And I think that's helped her pitch. She's not trying to strike everybody out. She's not running her own pitch count up. So we're just attacking and playing good defense and trying to play small ball and score runs behind her.
You mentioned scoring runs, and that's exactly what your players are doing. And I think they're hitting the ball pretty well. You talk about this Columbiana team. I think you guys have 10 games under your belt. 4 players that have 8+ games that are batting 400+ on the season too. Just talk about that, and the bats coming alive, bats coming hot. It must be a lot much easier for Tori in the circle when you guys are scoring at the volume you've been.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you would ask Tori, she's pretty happy with the way she's pitching. Probably not so happy with what she's doing in the box, but I think she's still hitting at like a 420 clip. So even a down year, she's still roping balls when we need her. Caitlin Pleska, a freshman, has really stepped up. I mean, she's hitting close to 500, 17 RBIs. So coming up with some big hits. She had an excellent week last week into the weekend. Ton of run production, RBIs, extra base hits. Ava DeVanzo has been swinging the bat great for us. Marin Hepler at the leadoff spot has been doing a great job of getting on. Julia Rapp in the 2-hole is hitting for power. Like I said, the inside the park home run. She's hitting over 400 right now. The bottom of our lineup, Cameron Perkins, she's been able to hit line drives for us. Elena Johnson, she gets out, sacrifice bunts, but she's hitting with more power this year. Audrey Smith has been really hot to start the year. Some extra base hits. I feel like our lineup is really deep right now. And like I said, that defense and that we get Tori Long in a circle going, I feel like we're going to be a tough team.
Talking about the team aspect and team mentality, team culture overall too. This is a question I like to ask all the coaches in multiple sports, but especially in the baseball, softball realm. What does your ideal dugout look like? And that can include the way the players are. However, just give me Coach Kurtz's ideal dugout.
Yeah. So one of the big things we hit on is when we're out there, everybody's on the fence. We want everybody on the fence in the game. We're having fun. Maybe we're not chanting like some of the other teams, but you know what? The girls are in the game. They're excited. They're cheering on their teammates. Everybody's ready to go. In between innings, we do our work to make sure that if somebody's ready to pinch hit or somebody's ready to run the bases for me, they're loose and they're ready to go. But we really want to know, we want the girls on the field to know that we have their back in the dugout and vice versa. When those girls get out there, when we play JV games, I make my varsity girls, they dress for JV games, so those JV girls are in the dugout cheering on our varsity squad. And when our JV squad's out there in the field, our varsity girls are in there cheering them on. They're coaching them up. They're, another set of eyes. I'm using those seniors as another set of eyes to help grow this program, because I know when I talked to you guys earlier in the year, we talked about 9 freshmen, and I think we have 9 freshmen, 5 sophomores. 4 sophomores. So we're young, 1 junior, and then the 3 seniors. So we're a young team. So anytime I can use those seniors to help me, I'm using them.
No doubt, Coach. And we've been able to talk with those seniors throughout the season too. And great leaders you have all around too. And I guess the final question is, now that we kind of get you at kind of a midway point in the season, right after a nice trip, you guys have about 10 games under your belt now. I think it's a fair question to ask, where are the expectations where they were set to reality now, and what are some of the expectations now going forward, and what are some of the hopes and goals going forward now for the second half of the season?
Yeah, so I think we're right on track. We're still undefeated in our conference. And that was goal number 1, is to win the conference outright this year. Last year we shared with Lisbon. This year we want to win it outright. And that's why those United games are so important to us coming up next week. And I know the girls are going to be fired up for that. And then when we get into the tournament is to go on a run. We wanted to see as much good pitching as we could early in the season to prepare us for that run. Right now we have 3 losses, and those losses are to a tough Howland team, Lakeview, and Oak Glen. So those are teams, and those were battles. Those were games that were tight. Early in the game we had leads. Maybe we blew the lead, or it was tight. We were clawing back. But those are the games we want to be in. We want to take care of business during the conference games, and then I want that non-conference schedule to really prepare us for a deep tournament run. We want to win sectionals. We want to get into the region. We want to show everybody what Clipper softball is all about.
And Clipper softball has definitely been making a lot of noise, and the community's clapping along with you, Coach, and we're clapping along with you as well here on YSN. We've loved what we've seen from your team so far. We wish you the best of luck in the second half of the season, and I'm sure with little doubt we'll be talking to you again real soon.
Yeah, just like always, man, I really appreciate you having me on. Anything, any chance I get to yell and scream from the top of the mountain about my girls, I'll absolutely do it. So hopefully you guys will have me back soon.
Absolutely. We love giving you the platform to do so, Coach. We hope you have a great day. That was Daryl Kurtz from Columbiana Softball, and back-to-back interviews right there. I think we were, 4, 5 in a row right now. So after all of that, digesting all of that, we're going to take our final break here on Running Point. I believe all games canceled. We'll go through all the games that were supposed to be happening tonight and get you squared away for tomorrow's show and for our upcoming shows here on this Tuesday afternoon. This is Ty Bartel with Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Working with your family can be stressful at times, but because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
It's storm season.
So I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Welcome back, everyone, to Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. My name is Ty Bartell. And before we get out of here today, let's just run through the list of games that are supposed to be occurring here tonight, but fair to assume a lot of these games have been canceled, postponed. Stay tuned with ysnlive.com and our social media pages to get updates on all games that are canceled, moved, postponed, delayed, added, and all things of that nature. Games that were on the docket for the softball side: Southside at Mohawk, Alliance at Salem, Cambridge at East Liverpool, Cheney at United, Garfield at Camel, Hubbard at Girard, LeBray at Crestview, Marlington at West Branch, Sebring at Jackson Milton, South Range at Poland, and Western Reserve at Lowville. Again, we'll check in with ysnlive.com and our socials, but I believe all games are postponed or canceled for tonight on that. And for the baseball side of things, locally at least, Minerva at Salem, Newton Falls at Brookfield, Western Reserve at Lowville, Hudson at Fitch, LeBray at Crestview, Lakeview at Howland, Northwest at Louisville, Beaver Local at Wellsville, Columbiana at Latonia, Garfield at Camel, South Range at Poland, and Struthers at Jefferson, I believe, are not happening. We did have a game at 2:30 p.m. that is slated to start in a half an hour. It is going to be Fairport, New York versus Canfield down at Myrtle Beach. That is greenlit, though, so that will be a game on the network for you. Again, it starts at 2:30, so you could catch it in between or in the middle of Casual Sports Podcast. That's going to be airing following the show from 2 to 3, and then following that, it's going to be Power Hour from 3 to 4. Until then, we have Wednesday tomorrow, where Scotty's going to be coming on the show as well, and we'll look forward to having Scotty Mincher on the show, as well as bringing the Golf Guru on as well for his usual Wednesday segment, Brian Tolnar, as well as we'll see any other guests due to pop up tomorrow too. You never know on Running Point. As we look forward to Wednesday's edition, Scotty and Brian come on tomorrow. We want to thank guests joining today, James Hannick, Gavin Mauger, and Nate Schick for joining us live today for today's show. We, of course, thank them for their time and appreciate it as well. We also appreciate the player of Reagan, Greenheisen, taking the time to do that interview with Anthony Hartwig. We appreciate that. And we also want to thank, of course, Dale Kurtz for taking the time to do an interview with me earlier today that got posted on the show. Of course, we thank all of our supporters and all of you that tune in and watch day to day. We look forward to a Wednesday edition of Running Point. Again, stay tuned as we have Casual Sports Podcast following from 2 to 3, Power Hour from 3 to 4. This has been Ty Bartell on this edition of Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. So long, everybody.